This is Aubrey from the So Wizard podcast, and you're listening to the Geek World All Stars Podcast Network.
I got nothing.
Yeah, it's okay.
Are you nerds done?
Who are you calling nerd, geek?
All right.
Dweeb, shut the fuck up. We have a podcast.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what? I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah. I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice up my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, you're listening to Superhero Speak, and I'm your host Dave.
And John.
Shep. Or JD, whatever.
Joining us, boys and girls, this week, we have a special guest who JD insulted a couple weeks ago, and
He's come to settle accounts.
He's come to settle accounts and make JD cry for what he did. And
it was loving. It was all in good fun.
Yes. In unrelated news, JD's back is thrown out, and he had coincidence.
I'm on the show. I was the one who said come on the show.
That's right.
So he is the host of House of D. He's D squared. And to his friends, I guess he's Donald.
Yeah, you can just call me Don. And it's funny that you say D squared real quick, because it's actually D square, which is not correct. It's not a correct expression, but I got that from a football coach and I didn't correct him. So I just kind of kept it D square.
Okay. See, my mind just autocorrects it to squared. So.
Well, as it should.
Doesn't autocorrect anybody else's name.
So we'll start with you, Don. How are you doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing great. Getting over being sick, as you probably hear if you do peruse my channel. But what was cool about that is, speaking of being insulted by JD, he insulted me so well it made me sick enough so I sat there one evening and actually read one of his books. So
there you go. If you're gonna go big.
So insulting me seems to have worked out for him.
Yes. And
I should try to make a career out of that in that case.
All part of his master plan.
You've got a lot of people to start insulting JD.
This is what I do in social media madness. Hey, it's twice that's actually worked out all right. Because I'm the one who said, what the hell does take a knee mean? And now I'm like good friends with Scott. So it's weird how podcast is cool like that.
Life is funny.
So for all the people listening, why don't you tell the listeners about the show that JD insulted?
Well, it's my YouTube channel, House of D, and I'm kind of a character on there per se, D square, but it's pretty much me. And I really started out with doing comic reviews, but going through the story, but I want to be an advocate for the medium of comics. So I just did straight reviews, and then I talk with my brother. We do like an hour-long talk show. I throw some, visible media up there, not much, but it really comes from the perspective of I'm a learned nerd, as you've all kind of heard, I guess, here. And I've been reading comics for a while. I mean, I took breaks here and there, but I've pretty much, been into him forever. And he is what you would consider a normie. And I don't want to use that as a derogatory fashion. It's just, he's one of these people that have come on now that the MCU's out there. He's one of those people that didn't pay the price of blood that us nerds paid going through school. But nonetheless, so I wanted to just kind of convert him and help him through that process. And I want people to get that perspective. So that's what that show's about, where we're going through the Hoxpox stuff right now, as well as the absolute carnage. And will do incoming next.
Absolute Carnage. Ooh.
Yeah, that's some freaky stuff, man.
Well.
Absolute's the new one.
Oh,
You're
okay.
thinking of Maximum.
I'm thinking of Maximum
the Donny
Carnage.
Cates stuff.
Yeah. Well, this is like its successor.
Yeah. Okay. How is that then? I am not up on the latest books.
This is a rabbit hole, but this is crazy because we're talking about the god of symbiotes, and now Carnage is, he's got like the powers of that god. So anyone that's ever come in contact with a symbiote, he has their DNA and can turn them into these Carnage drones. And it's versus Venom, who's got this son who also now has the Codex for some reason. And just Miles Morales, he came in contact. So like the next issue is going to deal with him being Carnageized. Norman Osborn thinks he's Cletus Cassidy. It's just crazy and horrific. It's really cool. I'm not reading all the tie-ins, but Volsker, my brother who I do my show with, he is. He's getting more into that, but it's, crazy awesome stuff.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is. Check it out. I mean, Venom grows dragon wings at some point because apparently there's sort of these symbiote dragons. But there's a lot of backstory to it. So I spent a lot of time on Wikipedia, Carnage, and Venom. Not that I didn't know the characters, but certainly not the recent stuff, symbiote gods and all that. But, it's good stuff.
It just reminds me of, not that long ago when we had a spider god and Peter died and gave birth to himself.
Yeah, let's hope that they learned lessons from that.
To be fair, I think Donny Cates is a guy with a really big imagination. A lot of the stuff I'm not reading this, but a lot of the stuff I have read from him is pretty cool. Like, he's got some cool ideas. And this, I don't know, man. I think you just sold me on picking this up. This sounds really neat.
Yeah, go for it. Listen to our show. Find out a little bit of it.
Subscribe.
Cool. All right. How about you, John? What have you been up to this week? Did you get anything written?
So, Dave, I was just asked what I was doing. Let me think for a moment.
Bad edit. All right.
Bad edit. No, I got some stuff. I got some stuff written, another 2 or 3 pages. Not great for a week, but it's been kind of hectic. I finished an outline, which is why I only got 2 or 3 pages of the actual manuscript written. And the editor got back with, here's the editor now. So my editor got back to me with at least rewrites of this little vignette that I wrote, having to do with the outline, because apparently when you're a writer and somebody asks you to do a really simple bare bones outline, it's quite impossible. So
where have we heard that before?
I believe it was last week's topic discussion.
So anyway, that's been basically it. And I'm trying to get into I don't want to say grind because this is a happy thing I'm doing. So I'm trying to get into the habit of an hour or 2 a night, after work, probably with beer.
I don't know about you, but grinding can be a very happy thing.
Jeez.
It depends on the grind. Sometimes grinding just grinds you up into pulp and you hate life.
Yeah.
Writing is like having homework for every night for the rest of your life.
But since I'm not writing Pulp Fiction, then it's not so good for me. So I'll just continue with my science fiction. That's it. I mean, there's not much else except for the drug companies trying to kill me because there was poison in the blood pressure medication I was taking. So that was fun.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
And speaking of too much grinding, JD, how's your pelvis?
My pelvis hurts. I threw the back out and it knocked the pelvis out of place. Just left the old chiropractor, so feeling horrible. But had a good week. First book got released last week, like we talked about, Harvest Moon. It's doing all right. We're in the top 20 in one of our Amazon categories. I think that when I get better at the advertising Amazon thing, I think I can hit number 1 in it in the next couple of months, which is pretty cool. Doing all right. We got another book coming out tomorrow. It's free. It's available for free everywhere else. It's just available mainly so I can get some reviews on it and stuff like that. And it's a place where people can find that book when the rest of the series launches. The following one will come out in October, and then another one in November.
Cool.
So,
You know, you're making me feel real good there, JD.
Which of us has the out of whack pelvis?
Yeah, well, you know, priorities, okay?
It's not like he's writing them now and getting them done that quick.
No, I've been doing this for the last 2 years, bro. Come on, cut me some slack.
I am. Remember, I'm the curmudgeon. That is slack.
You are. That is your gimmick. You are a curmudgeon.
Yes, that's why we love
my
you.
stereotype. Yes.
At least that's what we tell ourselves. That's why we love you.
How are you, Dave? How's the new job going? Do you know what you're doing yet?
A little bit more. Not a lot. Still getting used to it. You know, I mean, I'm logging in every day and working, so I must be doing something right.
Did you get to work from home?
Oh yeah. You're familiar with what happened to the refinery in Philadelphia a couple months ago? It blew up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I used to work.
It blew up.
Yeah.
Blew up real good.
And then, you know, like 3 days later, they said, "Oh, you know what? You're all fired." And I got it's basically a consulting gig, but the company's based in Texas, so I work from home. Yeah, the commute's a bitch.
Hey man, I get to work home 1 day a week, and that's because I live an hour away from the office I work, and I'm trying to convince them to let me do it 5 days a week. You know, I'm quoting, hey, you know, teleworkers are 13% more productive and lessening the carbon footprint, and so I'm trying.
That's my wife. She works from home now. She used the same thing. She had 1 day a week at home, and the drive into Chicago every day was killing her. So she got another job offer, and they said, "What's it going to take to keep you here?" She said, "Let me work from home." It's been 10 years, and she doesn't look back.
Nice.
Yeah, working home is awesome. So, Dave, have you given up on wearing pants to work yet?
Maybe.
Yes.
We'll leave that to the listener's imagination. But, you know, the one thing that I've realized, and I've said this to a few people who've asked me, how is it? You know, and I've even told my wife this, when you have a job where you go to an office and you have other people you work with, you can complain about your wife to the other guys. You can't do that when you're at home and your wife is there because there's no one else to complain to. Yeah. She didn't think that was funny. I don't know.
No, they never do.
They don't.
No.
But other than that, I've been, you know, not much to report. I've been getting ready for some convention coming up in New York. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that thing.
So that should be exciting. There's going to be a lot of interesting people there. I'm signing up for all the press rooms again, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to keep John busy.
Let me know how the AEW one goes, because I can't go.
Hey, well, you know, you're the one.
I know you're not. I know you're not going to, but I thought I would just throw that out.
That's okay. That's fair.
You're the one that doesn't want to fly.
Doesn't want to is not the issue. Like, have to work is the issue, and you don't want to pay for me. You cover my travel, boss man, and I will gladly come.
As soon as we make some money off of this podcast.
By the way, patreon.com/.
Speak. Yes. All right. So enough of that nonsense. Let's get on to other nonsense and talk a little social media madness, since that's how Donald got here.
Well, you never asked how Donald's day was.
He's the guest. We're going to talk to him the whole rest of the show. This is about us.
Okay, fine.
I agree with that.
Okay, Donald, how was your day? I'll make John happy. He scares me.
Well, I went to work and listened to podcasts and came home and read the show prep. And, going to watch a little football later on, but pleasure to be here on the podcast. I've been geeking out about it all day, so I'm doing pretty freaking great.
Cool. So, all right. See, there you go.
I have been appeased.
There you go. John.
That was what I wanted to do.
He is a content overlord.
So one of the things you recently talked about was Margot Robbie apparently bought the rights for Tank Girl. Well, her production company bought them. And we had a couple of responses on that. Paul Bronson said, "Don't see why not. It's not like it's leeching from a globally loved franchise. Tank Girl is niche and is untapped reservoir that could be awesome."
I don't know about untapped. For the rest of it, he's not wrong about. I mean, why not?
I mean, there was a Tank Girl movie.
Correct. So it has been tapped.
Yes.
Maybe not tapped thoroughly. Thoroughly tapped.
Double entendres.
Didn't even mean that to be, and it came out that way.
Why?
Oh, thoroughly tapped. We might have an episode title. And TV's Travis said, I am interested in this. I don't hate the Laurie Perry movie. Covered it on my show a couple of months back, so this must be another podcast. But feel like it could be better. Margot Robbie being involved has my attention. So
yeah,
I think it's good in this sort of this climate. When you look at the post-apocalyptic, I think they could do it and have like a reflection of today's society, kind of that punk rebel. I think it could, LGBTQ, friendly. I think they could go crazy with it and it'd be really successful, especially since Margot Robbie's hot. Popular. I think if they go that way, they could have something on their hands. Now, mind you, I only know about this because I remember the preview for Tank Girl being on like my Ninja Turtles 3 VHS or something like that.
Right.
So I certainly don't know a whole lot about the source material, but from what I do know, it could fit in today. They could make something of it that is popular. I'm
still of the mind that it was. I mean, the movie itself was really specifically a 90s property, and I think the source material is also kind of that era, but if they could update it, I guess. And Margot Robbie being involved wouldn't be too bad.
I think,
but you got me on the Doom Prepper thing. The Doom Prepper thing, like, if it's an instruction video of how to handle the apocalypse, that'd be perfect.
I think of a good example though with a movie of its time versus remaking that, and Judge Dredd comes to mind. Like,
yeah,
that original.
Actually, the new one was better. Yeah,
that original Stallone movie was such a '90s movie. Like,
it was camp.
Yeah, and then and the new one is a lot closer to the source material. So, yeah, I think it could be done.
It's going to have a bigger profile anyway, because Margot Robbie's a much bigger star than Lori Petty ever was.
Well, that is true as well. All right.
Wasn't that right after A League of Their Own or something like that? Like, she had a little bit going on back then.
A little, like I said, but Margot Robbie's, her profile is way bigger than Lori, even than Lori Petty's peak. So, it'll have eyeballs.
Yeah. All right. And the other thing we talked about last week, of course, is that fan theory that the Joker movie is going to set up Flashpoint to give us a darker DCEU. And of course, we had a couple people who commented on that. Kevin Glennon said, the only way to create a darker DCEU at this point is to start with Batman going into a daycare center with a sword a la Anakin Skywalker with the young Jedi. The movies are already so dark they make American Psycho look like Mary Poppins.
This is the greatest tweet that's ever been sent. Who is this from?
Kevin Glennon.
Get this dude on the show.
There we go.
We have to insult him first.
This is true.
No, seriously, like, I, again, with the darker thing, it's like, well, if they gave it to the cinematographer for the end of the Game of Thrones series, then yeah, sure, they could make it darker, but otherwise.
I still think that was brighter than what we got in the DCU. Like,
yeah.
Jeez.
Earth 9 said that would be pretty awesome. And then Patrick Sharp said, because that's what everyone has been saying about the DCEU. It's too light and hopeful. And then he has the eye roll emoji. No one's said that. I don't think ever. Uh-oh.
That's what's called irony, Dave.
Oh, that's ironing? Oh, irony.
Ironing, yes. That's what I meant to say. Sure.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about this last week. There's no way to go darker without them being horror movies, basically, at this point.
Oh,
which we almost got, remember?
We haven't seen Joker yet, so we don't know how dark he's going.
I was talking, wasn't the other one a horror movie? Or was it?
No, New Mutants, that's Marvel.
No, that's right, that's Marvel.
That doesn't exist. It's not a real movie.
We don't. We think.
You were excited for that movie at one point, JD.
I know. I was very excited. That was a year and a half ago.
There's a lot of people that still are.
I think it was 2 years ago. Like, that movie's not real. It's just this isn't real. Until I see something, until something gets released, it's a myth.
Or until you see the bootleg.
I'll watch a bootleg of it. It's got to be horrible.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this last one wasn't really about anything too specific. It was about people having a misunderstanding of that early 2000s show, Birds of Prey. So Random Randy Savage from Colt 45 obviously listened to the show. He tweeted this in response to one of our shout out tweets. And he said, P.S. Mark Hamill played the live action Joker in Birds of Prey. How's that?
He's right.
For irrelevant. So, because I had said that Mark Hamill's never played the live action version of Joker. And then Gorilla Brain podcast backed him up with, most people don't remember the show so very. I remember a lot of tight leather and a nice cancellation just as it was heating up.
That's about all I remember too. And I was an avid watcher of anything like that back then.
And then the Pittsburgh Nerd podcast said, I have the complete series on DVD. I liked it a lot. It had a lot of potential, but it helped pave the way for Smallville, which is probably true. So
No, it didn't. Smallville was already on.
No, you're right. This was supposed to be another decent. Yeah, you're right, because it was 2000...
2002 to 2003.
Yes.
Yeah, Smallville premiered in 2001.
But there was something that was bothering me, because I'm like, did he actually play the live action Joker? And he did the voice of the Joker. So I said, well, Hamill himself did the voice of the Joker on Birds of Prey, but he was dubbed over Roger Stoneburner, so he still hasn't really done a live-action Joker. And I did look it up, and there's actually a tweet from Mark Hamill where he's upset because he never got the other guy never got credit. Roger Stoneburner never got credit on the show. They said it just said Mark Hamill in the credits. So it
doesn't even say that on IMDb. There's no credit for Mark Hamill on here that I can find.
Dave, way to not take the L on this.
Oh, there it is. Never mind.
You fought hard to not be wrong.
Well, because I know what Mark Hamill looks like, and I remember what the Joker looked like in the show, and I'm like, that is not Mark Hamill.
Oh, way to not wave the white flag, because I did when the guy said that, because I forgot, oh yeah, that was a thing.
Never mind. I found his credit, by the way. Mark Hamill is credited as the Joker, but again, Roger Stoneburner. So, okay, so not on the episode.
So I'm sure that's been...
on IMDb, they got him.
Right, it's probably been corrected at this point, but originally it wasn't.
Talk about being prescient, though, because, you've got Mark Hamill as the Joker, Roger Stoneburner as the Joker, listed right one after the other. Kind of feels like, 2019 now, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Is it?
How many Jokers do we have?
Too many.
Too many Jokers to count.
Way too many.
All right, so...
Or is one and done.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to mention Randy and Gorilla Brain podcast because they are podcasts that are with us in
Spirit.
Come on, guys! I plug this every week. The Geek World All Stars Podcast Network, which also
you plug it every week.
Yes, this also includes So Wizard, the Pop Prism Power Podcast, Fans on Patrol, and of course Colt 45 and the Gorilla Brain Podcast. And you guys who are listening to this, if you like our show, you'll love their shows. So go check them out.
I need to listen to Fans on Patrol this week. They're doing a deep dive on It.
Yes.
I want to see if I'm alone in my liking of it. Mark Ellis on So Wizard did not care for it.
No?
I've heard that a lot of people haven't cared for it, and then this seems to be one of those movies where you either really liked it or you really hated it.
Yeah, it's much more polarizing than I thought it'd be. I thought it was too damn long, but I enjoyed it.
That seems to be the only thing people agree.
Yeah, you're talking about Chapter 2, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing people agree about is that it was too long. That was it.
The only negative I've heard is the length.
The length is a negative. It's too damn long.
Fascinating.
So every time you say Fans on Patrol on any of the podcasts, I got to tell you, I think of Police Academy. Is that where that comes from? Like the Citizens on Patrol?
Citizens on Patrol, yeah. That was one of the sequels.
God, I love Police Academy 4, actually. I love those movies.
As long as I've been listening to the show, I've never heard them mention that.
Okay.
But Montego is like around my age, so he probably will appreciate that. Yes. That's perfect. That's a perfect place to say, hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And we're back.
I want to say Citizens on Patrol is the one that had the rap for like its song.
Probably. Wait, and then 5 was Miami Beach, right?
5 was Miami Beach. 3 was one where they go back to the academy.
Yes.
Because for most movies, they're not actually in an academy. We're just following the members of said academy till Steve Guttenberg gets too famous.
Yes. And then goes off a cliff somewhere. So anyway, is that enough of that?
Yeah, that's enough.
I think we
Segue.
can talk about Steve Guttenberg all day.
Could you really, JD?
Maybe 15 minutes. Maybe.
So
join me for Gutenberg on Patrol, my new podcast.
All Gutenberg all the time.
Oh my God.
With a Bible study afterwards, because
I was trying to figure how to get the Bible joke in there, and I couldn't shoehorn it. Good job, John.
Oh my God, this is going off the rails.
Okay. Well, speaking of off the rails, we're talking about Marvel. That's not off the rails. I thought we were going to segue to DC. Never mind.
No, we're going to start with Marvel. And of course, the biggest story of the week is Robert Downey Jr. has been confirmed to be returning to do the Black Widow movie.
In a prequel.
Well, so just a whole lot about nothing. Like, for the moment of time that we talked about, man, he's not coming back. I even said, there's no way he'll be back. It hasn't even been a month.
As he was dying on screen, I was thinking, I wonder when he's going to come back to be a hologram or something.
Yes.
Well, in this case, it's one big flashback, because that's the Black Widow movie, right?
Well,
we don't know that.
We don't know that. We know that it takes place like between Civil War and Infinity War, I believe.
Right. So he's on screen, or maybe he's a hologram, but he's the live version. This isn't like Tony being too smart and saving instructions for somebody after he's dead.
Yeah, he's not a Force ghost.
Right.
Yeah, which he could have been if he wanted to.
If anyone could be.
Like, he wouldn't possibly come back and shoot new footage for this, right? Like, this would at least be stock, because, I don't know, I'm just thinking as an actor, you have this great death scene. I would never come back to do that as an actor. I'd be done. I'd say, hey, use stock footage, whatever.
That's interesting. Yeah, well, I mean...
They gotta come a big old check if that's gonna be stock footage.
Yeah?
The Crispin Glover rule.
Well, either way, they're cutting him a check, aren't they?
They have to.
Yeah. So, it depends on his mindset, which is not something I ever really considered, actually.
Yes, I mean, because, it's not like they've killed anyone off in the MCU and they came back and they're like a TV show or something.
Well, again, it is Marvel.
No, we got it. I mean, like, it sure seems like the Marvel Cinematic Universe never acknowledged that as being a real thing, though. And that seemed to be a big sticking point between the great schism of film and television.
Yes. No, that is true.
The Great War of 2014, I believe.
Yeah. But now that show's coming to an end, so we shall see what happens. Yeah, I mean, even when they had people from the movies on the show, it was like, yeah, don't tell the Avengers that he's alive. It was like, what?
It's just as an aside, basically.
They brought, was it Jane Alexander that plays Lady Sif? I forget the actress's name.
Yes.
They brought her on the show, and that was pretty much the end of her. She didn't do any more Thor after that.
Yeah, well, she wasn't.
Right.
She wasn't in Thor Ragnarok because of a scheduling conflict, which is pretty much the only reason why Lady Sif could still be alive in the universe.
A scheduling conflict?
Yeah. Yeah, scheduling conflict, she escaped death. So.
That is true. But Nick Fury was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a couple times, and he never mentioned to the Avengers that he's still alive.
Nope.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's how you get around the Spider-Man issues that we keep talking about.
They're all scrolls.
Yes.
They've introduced that now, so you can just say that anytime. They're all scrolls.
Actually, we've talked about that actually because of Black Widow.
Yeah, I believe that was our big thing last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We talked about how she could be a Skrull. I'm still of that mind that that's possible.
I'm 100% convinced.
Well, you have mentioned the schism with Sony and Marvel. You know, the Russo,
that, by the way.
the Russo brothers have come out and said they believe that's a mistake that Sony is pulling them out. Now, it's interesting if you read the article. I don't remember if it was Joe Russo or what's the brother's name? Anthony. I don't remember which one had said this, but it was like they basically said working with Sony was a tenuous relationship at best. But that they worked really hard to get Spider-Man into Civil War. And it's funny, like, I didn't think about it, but they're the ones that, other than the two solo Spider-Man movies, they're the ones that drove the Spider-Man story in the MCU.
100%.
Yeah. It was their 3 movies, and that was their story, Civil War through Endgame. So.
It's just not that easy, they said. To replicate Kevin Feige's success with the Spider-Man franchise. Yeah, maybe they could, go spray paint that on the side of the Sony headquarters, because I don't think they understand that. I think they've got to be in there.
I don't think anyone understands that, because people keep trying to make these cinematic universes and keep falling flat. That guy's got a formula. That guy's got a formula, and it works.
Yeah. It's interesting because it feels like it puts a lot more weight with the two of them coming and saying, yeah, I think it was a mistake. And I don't feel like that was a corporate speak kind of thing. That was like, nah, if we look at this even, what's the word I'm looking for? Objectively, yeah, this seems like a bad idea.
Well, Sony's notoriously hard to work with.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the first time we've had bumps in the road with a Spider-Man movie. Like, the whole character's cinematic history is predicated on the fact that Sony's a big pain in the ass with this stuff. So I don't think anyone disagrees with them. And I think their Marvel contracts are done, I would think. So I agree. It's not just corporate speak. This feels pretty real.
One of the interesting things I heard the other day was continuing the contract was hinged on Far From Home making $1 billion. Like, they wanted it to make $1 billion. And they basically, apparently at one point, Sony said, yeah, if it makes $1 billion, we'll definitely continue the contract. And it made $1 billion, and they're like, yeah, nah, we're walking away. So.
Something shady had to happen like that, because why would Marvel, knowing that Sony's such a pain in the ass, ingrain their character into their universe so much, and then boom, this happens.
Well,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, though. I forget if we talked about it, but that could have been a power play. Like, ingrain him so much into the MCU that making a solo Spider-Man movie afterwards would be nearly or absolutely impossible, and thereby gain more leverage in any future negotiations.
So, I break this down like wrestling a lot. There's a thing called giving it the rub. That means you put a lesser known guy in there with a bunch of famous guys, and by proxy, that lesser known guy's status will move up. I truly believe Sony thought that by putting Spider-Man in the MCU for a brief time, their films would then get the rub, and now whatever they do, they're gonna play on the fact that that Spidey's been connected to the MCU for long enough that people, the vast majority of film viewers, not people like us, will not know the difference, and will think he's still just as deep.
And here's the thing, this past weekend, I sat down because I got Endgame finally on Blu-ray. So, I put it in, got a lot of tea, sat down, rewatched the movie because it's still awesome. And, how we talked about where, making a solo Spider-Man movie, they could probably do it by not mentioning stuff and working around stuff. I am now more sure than ever that is going to be absolutely impossible, because once Peter Parker has been through sitting there right in front of Iron Man, of Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, dying right in front of him after the relationship that they had. I don't think that there's any way that Sony can make a movie without any MCU properties and make it sound anything other than like a fan fiction. And worse than that, because it doesn't include good stuff.
And like I said before, man, that's just like any Spider-Man that's connected to Uncle Ben. We don't want Spider-Man sitting around talking about Uncle Ben the whole time. I really don't want another Spider-Man movie where he sits there and laments Uncle Tony.
I'm not saying he'd sit there and lament Uncle Tony the whole thing, but this is all part of his motivation.
And it's still there.
Right. The thing is, but you don't go through having motivation that you can't mention in a movie.
Well, sure you do. You never mention your motivation. That's bad writing to sit there and say, I am motivated by the fact that my precious uncle or my mentor died. Like, you just know it. Motivation is something that is not seen or heard. It's layers beneath a character.
But it has to be, not mentioned explicitly, it has to be at least referenced.
But as an audience, we know it. Like, we know that's his motivation. Whether or not Marvel and Sony have a contract, those are his motivations. They've never stated once in this new Spider-Man series that his Uncle Ben died. They've hinted to it a bunch, but never really outright talked about the Spider-Man or the traditional Spider-Man origin.
Right, but you can get away with that because they can get away with that because they didn't say anything about it at all, which means that we don't have a reference point with which to question it, right? We don't know we basically, they got through omission. We're filling in all the details.
Then we're going to do the exact same thing with Iron Man. Well, because it happened, because we saw it, we know that that's the story. They're going to move forward with it. The same way Marvel Comics doesn't have, like, you can have the Space Knights in Marvel Comics, you just don't talk about Rom.
Yeah, but it's going to feel like something's missing. It's going to take away from it big time. I don't know. Well, this is one thing I'm after watching Endgame, I'm absolutely sure there's no way Sony can continue and produce a Spider-Man movie that's anywhere close to the last two, because they will be dancing so hard around not being able to mention anything from the MCU.
So here's a question. Where did the blip, like what film was the blip first mentioned? That term.
The blip that was in Spider-Man.
Yep. It wasn't in Avengers. There's your loophole.
Oh man, you were really pushing that one. Nah, I don't.
They call it the blip instead of the snap.
Yeah.
They call it the blip in Spider-Man. They never called it the blip in the Avengers movie. So you can sit there and talk about the blip all you want. That's theirs.
That'd be corny.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying it would be good. I'm just telling you what they can do.
See, I'm telling you, though, they will be dancing so hard around all the things they can't mention or show or have that it's not going to feel right.
I'm with you. And two members of the Sinister Six being off the table, or at least in that form, is tough too. I see both points, but yeah, that's Michael Jackson level dancing that they're going to have to do.
Who's off the table for the Sinister Six?
Mysterio and Vulture.
They've appeared in Sony movies, not Marvel movies.
Yeah, I guess so. So they could just bring a boom, carbon copy everything about them. Yeah, okay.
Everything about them stays. Like Damage Control, all that stuff was in a Sony movie. All that stuff with Mysterio was in a Sony movie.
So they just don't mention Damage Control, or they just don't mention Stark or Shield.
Yeah, you just don't say Stark or Shield.
I don't know. I think
it's not getting my money.
Yeah.
No, I will say this, JT. You said a hero never says what their motivation is.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my quote for you. My name is Montoya. Montoya, you killed my father. Prepare to die.
Yeah,
that is different.
You can't have a motivation that is never referenced at all. Period. You need to have at least through action or word or expression some indication of what the motivation is.
Not in part 6.
Works for Naruto too.
Like it's part 6 at this point. Like we know it.
Wait,
like
did you just reference Naruto?
Yeah,
he did. I didn't.
Okay.
He said it works for Naruto too.
What do you mean? Naruto's always like, I'm going to be the Hokage.
That's what I'm saying. That's another person that announces what his motivations are all the time.
It's true. Like in literally every anime, that's, Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna say on this one, especially because it's the sixth. This will be the sixth Marvel movie. Let's call it a Marvel movie with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Like, we know it. We know what he's about. We know his background. None of it needs to be like really referenced because there's enough of a landing point to go with another movie that's firmly established in MCU stuff. And just because it's firmly established doesn't mean you can't like talk about it.
It's going to feel hollow and empty.
Only because you're thinking about it.
Oh, right. But who's going to watch that movie not thinking about the history?
The people that don't, the normies, the people that don't know, they don't care about us.
They sure don't.
Like they care about the average ticket going public that's going to see Spider-Man, and they're going to say, oh, and guess what? They're still going to get to have that little Marvel logo at the beginning of the movie because the character is owned by Marvel, so they ain't going to know the difference.
Yeah, you're talking about the Transformer crowd, right? The ones that keep making those movies big, even though, gods, they're the Transformers.
To be fair, none of those movies, the last like 2 or 3 of those movies have not been big. Like they've not done well. Like the Mark Wahlberg, the last Mark Wahlberg one and the John Cena one, nothing to write home well.
Well, it just goes to show how bad you have to make a movie to stop the normies from going.
That's true. That's why I say like they're not gonna know. The people that listen to these podcasts, it's gonna bug us. But they already got our money. We're already going to see the movie. Right. And the movie's going to stand on its own. Like, and like the normal people, my wife's going to go watch that movie and she's not going to know or care. The fact that Spider-Man and Tony Stark aren't going to share the screen anymore. When Tony Stark's already dead, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. My wife liked Dark Phoenix. And I was like, what?
Oh, God. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on to other Russo brothers news.
There's more?
There's more. So apparently they're not done with Marvel. They just want a break, even though they kind of said they were done a while ago. And the next movie they would like to tackle for Marvel is the Fantastic Four.
Take all my money.
Yeah.
Take all my money. Here it is. Just take it. Make the damn film.
Yeah, I'm with John on that one. And Fantastic Four isn't even my favorite, but my first memories of even seeing superheroes is The Thing. Played him. He was my first character back in the Marvel pen and paper RPG. Mm-hmm. And the Russo brothers, the way they did the Winter Soldier with, it didn't have like the superhero big powers, but it was a really intriguing movie. And the Fantastic Four needs to be that intriguing scientific, nerdy explorer. Like, yeah, I'm absolutely down.
Yeah, no, yeah, go ahead, JD.
Nothing. I wasn't going to say anything, but I mean, if I'm going to, they make them adventurers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't do the same movie. Make them explorers. Make them adventurers. Let them stumble onto something. And I think those guys get it. Like, those guys get these characters because they've made different movies. Winter Soldier is a much different movie than an Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
So they've shown a ton of range. They've shown they get these characters. Yeah, bend over backwards, give it to them, and cast John Krasinski
as
the
Mr.
guy
Fantastic.
from The Office. Yeah.
as Mr. Fantastic.
Isn't he busy on that?
No one's too busy for Kevin Feige.
Right. No, exactly. Somebody call it because the money. It's going to make money. Come on.
Just the residuals alone.
Oh yeah, cast his wife as the Invisible Woman. Boom, you got a hook.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt's good actress. That could be awesome.
But what's the?
I don't know. Do you want to start? What's the age range of the character? I don't know. Maybe.
What's the show that he does on Amazon?
It is a Jack Ryan show, doesn't it?
Yes, that's
or
it.
Did he?
Jack
Is that
Ryan.
over? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It might be over. I don't. My wife was watching it. I have to ask her if they came out with another season.
He'll stop what he's doing to do a Marvel movie. Who wouldn't?
He should, yeah.
Possibly. We'll see. All right. So we got a couple real quick, interesting rumors related to Marvel. One goes back to the TV discussion we had earlier, and that is there's apparently rumors floating around they are going to resurrect Daredevil and possibly the other shows on FX or Hulu.
Dave, this was a cosmic book news link.
Yeah, I doubt.
Well, yes, but apparently, what's his name? Kingpin. The actor.
Yes, Kingpin.
The guy. He's been actually making a stink on social media about wanting to play the Kingpin again.
Yes, he wants to work.
D'Onofrio. Vincent D'Onofrio, that's it. Yeah, but he's a great actor, you know.
Oh, he was amazing in that role.
Yes, fantastic.
You know, I mean, he probably could get a lot of roles that he wants. But that's,
absolutely.
Yeah. And there are rumors I have seen in other places that apparently Jeff Loeb and Kevin Feige have made nice. Because
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Loeb is still in charge of the stuff on Disney Plus because that still falls under television.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that falls under Marvel Television.
But none of the other Marvel Television stuff has been backed by like the Disney, like the D20. Like there've never been D23 announcements. Like this is MCU stuff. Like the Loeb stuff was always kind of on its own.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm coloring mainly because of the source, because we've covered rumors from this site that have been so outlandish and have not come to pass. I'm coloring this one with a big old stink eye.
All right.
Especially on FX. It makes no sense to put it on FX.
Well, Disney owns it now.
But you're gonna but that's basic cable.
Yeah, they would rather put it on Hulu and get paid for it.
Well, you can also content-wise too. If you put it on basic cable, you're sacrificing a ton of the content that are part of those shows.
Yes, but if they want to tie it in with the MCU, they might want to make it a little more family friendly.
But why would they do that when they could put it on Hulu?
I could see them having something just on regular network just to have something out there to pull people in, maybe even pull people into the streaming. I could see it happening.
Again, if on any website other than Cosmic Book News, this is the same website that tried to tell us that Endgame was a failure.
The
week it broke the record for the most money making film of all. Like they're like, had a bigger drop the first week, the second week than Infinity War. It's a failure. So again, consider the source.
Yeah, I know. And the other website that I saw this article on was We Got This Covered.
If it's on Bleeding Cool, I'll start taking it a little more seriously, or CBR. But until then, man, they're just like dirt sheet stuff.
All right. So here's a story that kind of transitions us from Marvel to DC. It's rumored that Marvel has their eyes on Henry Cavill to be the MCU's Wolverine.
I'll believe that when I see it too.
So Donald, you sound like you have some opinion on that.
I just don't understand why they think that would be a good idea. Particularly kind of actor he is, Wolverine being very bestial, feral. That certainly is not going to work out long term. I've seen the picture, the picture it shows with his hairy chest and beard. Like, I'm not saying it's beyond the realm of imagination, but I obviously don't think it's a good idea. I don't think he would stick around. We're not going to get the Hugh Jackman longevity. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but I don't, CGI mustaches.
I was going to say, they're going to have to CGI his mustache the whole time? I don't know. Does his mustache get extra billing? I mean, does it get its own credit? I don't. How does that work?
Oh, that was bad.
I mean, in all fairness, though, Hugh Jackman, what was he in before he did Wolverine? He was on stage or something, right?
He still does. He's a Tony Award-winning actor. He's a song and dance guy.
Right. He's a real sing-song dance man, yeah.
Nobody thought he was going to be good as Wolverine. And then he did it and, was the most perfect Wolverine of all. So,
To be fair, he's the only.
True.
Chris Benoit was the perfect one, but that didn't happen.
Whoa. A lot of reasons why that can't happen.
Well, yes. But before that happened, I always wanted him. Anyway, sorry.
I'm going to ignore that and do research on it later.
I didn't mean to grab the wheel and turn it left. I'm sorry.
I do. That's usually what I do. It's okay. No, I guess I think that actors act. I think that he could. I just don't see them. I don't see them doing this. I mean, I'm not saying Henry Cavill couldn't or shouldn't be Wolverine, it's very rare, not impossible, but it's very rare for people to cross over like this. Not impossible, but rare. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, well, has anyone else done it?
The guy who played James Gordon and J. Jonah Jameson. His name escapes me at the moment.
Oh, you mean, oh shoot.
The farmers in Farmers
We've seen a thing or two, yeah.
I can't think of his name. It's like...
in that Oz show from HBO back in the day.
Right, I can't...
But yeah, don't know his name.
J.K. Simmons.
Yes. J.K.
From
Simmons.
Whiplash. Every time I hear his name, all I can think is Whiplash. But
there was a guy who I think played Green Lantern at one point.
Oh yeah, Ryan Reynolds, that dude.
He went from Marvel to DC back to Marvel.
Yeah, but that never happened because he retconned himself after he played Deadpool.
But that's different too. Is like he played like a pre-DCEU Green Lantern, supposed to be the launching point of DCU, didn't work out, and then went to 20th Century Fox, and that was all his work. So I have another counterpoint on this. This could also be something from Henry Cavill's camp, like angling to play the role.
Oh, they're trial ballooning.
Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes. Ryan Reynolds specifically.
Yeah.
That's how we got Deadpool. So that could.
Do you know it was the anniversary of the test footage for Deadpool getting leaked, and Ryan Reynolds said he's still on the case to try to figure out who leaked it.
Maybe we should get Detective Pikachu on it.
That's awesome.
Perfect. Oh, that was excellent.
That's our soundbite for this week.
Nice.
What was I going to say? No, I think that that's a great way of an actor taking control of his own career, right there, making something happen. So that could be a case of maybe Henry Cavill wants to be Wolverine.
Yeah.
Whether or not we want him to be, there's a whole other subject, though.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of cases of fanboys pooping on casting before we had a chance to see what it was and winding up being pretty good.
Ben Affleck.
Michael Keaton. But that wound up being pretty bad. But there's to that I counted you with Michael Keaton wound up being great back.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what? A lot of people crapped on Ben Affleck, and he was the best thing out of that movie.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So then let's cross the aisle to DC.
I'm excited.
So, we've been talking a lot about this Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover for the Arrowverse, and of course, your good friend, JD, Mr. John Wesley Shipp, has confirmed he will be reprising his role as the Flash for this.
Awesome.
And he didn't tell you so we could break it.
No, that's how it goes.
Well, anyway, I mean, I'm glad he's coming on. I'm really, really glad that he's going to be on there.
I will extend the invitation to him to come on the show the week he's on the Flash, but I wouldn't hold our breath.
Yeah, that's okay. So, I mean, you know.
So, here's what I hope. Because John, this is me fanboying, I hope that John gets to play the Barry Allen that sacrifices himself at the end of Infinite Crisis.
Ah.
That would make sense.
Or the end of Crisis on Infinite Earth, excuse me.
So he wouldn't be the one, he wouldn't be the Barry Allen from, because didn't the article say that they were talking about it might give him closure on the Barry Allen that he was playing from the original TV series?
Right. Yes, it did.
So, maybe that, or maybe that's the Barry, so that's the Barry Allen that works out.
Yes, it does. I didn't even think of it that way.
I love that. That's awesome that they're going back like that. I don't know, that just get this continuity like that. I just crave it. And I don't even watch these shows, but I'm going to watch this Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Crossover.
It looks awesome.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing is, a couple of weeks ago, because there's a few extra episodes left of Arrow that I haven't finished yet before I start watching the last season. And I was going through some of the old Supergirl episodes too. And in the background of one of the Supergirl one of the scenes was a truck for Gambi for Suits, which is from Black Lightning. And now we know that Black Lightning is being brought into the DC CW universe. So they were hinting at that already, like months and months and months ago.
That can't be a surprise, though.
I know it's kind of not, but it's really cool that they, as soon as they, I guess they already had that scene in there, just as like fan service, because it was way in the background, and it wasn't something you would really notice, except that my eyes just happened to focus on the truck, and it's like, wait, does that say? And I had to freeze frame it, rewind it to really take a look, and it said Gamby on it. So it is really good. This whole thing is turning out to be like one of the best things that's going to be on TV in a long time, at least for us geeks.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm getting more excited. We shall see. And it's funny because it goes along with what JD has always said about DC with their continuity salad. It's a way to bring them all together and tie up some of these storylines.
I've got you saying continuity. It's awesome.
So I have a question, guys. What do let's see, Jay Courtney, Paula Borg. Did I read that right? Oh, Flula Borg.
They have nothing in common.
Juan Diego Bato, Storm Reed, Julia Ruiz, Margot Robbie, Idris Elba,
Joel Kinnaman,
Nathan Fillion, Tiki Watiti. What do all these people have in common?
They're going to be in a movie with John Cena.
Yes! I was saving him for last. So
I'm going to make a bingo board with each one of their names on it so I can cross off who dies.
Lots.
See, I would have said that they're all going to be in a movie with Peter Capaldi. But, okay. It depends on your point of view, I guess.
So
I was going to say they're all going to be in a movie with Sean Gunn.
They are. They're all going to be in them together, and it's going to be wonderful because so many of them are going to die.
And what movie is that, JD?
It'll be The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, gotta have the.
Which is not. It's not a successor. It's not a. What do you call it?
A reboot, a sequel.
No, it is a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
But it also features the cast of the first movie.
Yeah, which is just.
So it's a soft reboot.
I don't know what this is. I don't think we're going to know what this is until we see something from it, because we speculated on Peter Capaldi playing Captain Boomerang, and yet Jay Courtney is in this movie who played Captain Boomerang. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
So you're going to see John Wesley Shipp as the Flash run through some of the scenes as the universe, as some of these guys blink in and out of existence.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I'm just hoping that Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern, played by John Cena, is in this movie, or else I'm going to be upset. That's who I want John Cena to play.
Really?
I want the red bowl cut. Yes.
I can see it.
I want him as Guy Gardner.
Oh my God, I can picture it so badly. Oh my God, now I want it.
That might actually really work.
It has to happen, I'm telling you.
I am curious. By the way, on our Slack channel, I made a John Cena "you can't see me" joke, and it totally went over Dave's head. I had to explain it to him, that "you can't see me" thing, which is a shame that you've been missed out on a whole culture of internet memes. But this should be a fun movie, especially with James Gunn directing it.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, so just that. I can always say his name wrong.
Taika Waititi
is going to be in the movie. He's not directing it. He's just going to come and do the movie. Like, oh my God. Like,
interestingly enough, Taika Waititi also in the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie.
Was he?
He's Tom Kalamaka.
Oh my God. All right.
Gets around.
Huh.
So I don't know I don't know if he's going to do like a voice like he did for Ragnarok, or if he's actually going to act.
I don't know. It's a good question, because like Nathan Fillion, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, but he was just the voice of one of the guys at the prison. So it was like, oh, okay.
But I think he'll be bigger in this one. Like, you don't put him on the poster if he's just going to be a voice of a dude in the prison, Daniel Craig style.
I don't know. There's a lot of names on this poster, though.
But I think that's what's cool about the Suicide Squad, is because like everybody pretty much picked out that Wes Studi was going to die. Or is it Wes Studi? I forget. That whoever played Hangman was going to die. Now there's a big board And it can be any one of these guys dies. So, I mean, that's the cool part of the Suicide Squad. So, I'm fired up, man. This is great.
Well, you know, there was an animated Suicide Squad movie from DC only a couple of months ago, maybe a year ago now, and I mean that was one of those ones where most of them just died and in horrible ways, and it was good. I mean, that's what the Suicide Squad's supposed to be about.
Are they going to? I don't remember the name of the full title of the movie, but the second G.I. Joe movie. Are they going to pull that? Where
when they killed Duke at the beginning,
they killed like everyone from the first movie in the beginning of that movie, and then brought in all different characters for the rest of the movie.
You mean awesome. Are they gonna pull a Transformers animated movie?
Just gonna say that. That's exactly what that was.
So Hasbro's a one-trick pony.
We gotta get the new toy line out.
Yep, gotta clear the decks.
We seriously should make a bingo board, and then let's all guess who's going to die, and then see if at the end of the movie who gets it right.
So I think that's something we should definitely do when the movie comes out, and hyping up to it, like actually get active on the social media thing like we did with Nerd Madness.
Yes.
And get people voting on this. We should absolutely do this. And actually, Dave, I'm spitballing here. We should actually have, like, when we review the show, like, actually do a bingo with some, like, different guests and stuff. This could be fun.
Okay. I think we got an idea here.
I've already found a bingo card generator online. So all I have to do is add the names in, and then we could like print them out or make images of them and send them out. Like, you know, just randomize them.
Even more excited now.
Who's going to be the free square though? Who's definitely going to die?
Who's definitely going to die?
Yeah.
The guy who played Rick Flag's definitely going to die.
I would go with that too.
I can say who's definitely not going to die, and that's Margot Robbie.
Yeah, she's right. I might as well be in the middle because she ain't dying.
But they're supposed to mark these up as they die, so the person in the middle has to absolutely die.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Oh wait, you know what? We'll just put Jared Leto in the middle. There you go.
Shockingly enough, he is not on that list.
No, he is not.
Too many Jokers.
He died off screen.
It's a shame. Poochie died back on the way back to his home planet.
Yes.
If you think there's too many Jokers, does that mean you don't want to do the comic book thing where Batman learns there's 3 of them?
Have they paid that off yet?
I think it's been retconned almost, I think.
They talked about that like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've actually ever done anything with it.
I think the Rebirth stuff, I think canceled that out. I'm not the DC guy though. I just dabble a little bit in them.
Yeah, that was such a bad idea to me. I think it takes. I mean, I understand the concept and where they were kind of going with it, but I don't know. It just feels like it takes something away from the character.
The more you know about the Joker, the less cool he is.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can also establish that Idris Elba probably Deadshot with Will Smith not coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he would be Bronze Tiger, but it's looking more like Deadshot.
Yeah, I guess so. He'll be a cooler Deadshot.
Who's King Shark?
I don't know. I heard there is a King Shark in this. Like someone.
Really?
Yeah, they were messing with Gail Simone on Twitter about it, and she was like fired up about it.
Interesting.
I forget who though.
I want to see a King Shark, Gorilla Grodd. I mean, let's go.
Oh yeah, go. I mean, if they're gonna do this, especially with James Gunn, let's do this. Like full on Suicide Squad. Like work in some of the Secret Six in there too. Make someone Bane. Let's go to town.
Okay. We shall see. But there's a lot of people, a lot of roles to fill, people. So
a lot of dying.
A lot of
expendables.
Yeah. I'm guessing some of those people are going to have mere minutes on screen. It's just a lot of people.
Yes, 100%. Like the dude who played Captain Boomerang last time, Jay Courtney, he gone.
Yeah.
Dude who played Rick Flag, he gone.
Like they did with the X-Force in the Deadpool 2 movie. Just, this big build-up and then 5 dudes just die.
I think that was the best part of the movie.
No, Colossus vs. Juggernaut. I guess I'm biased.
Right. I'll give you that. All right. So, moving on. Speaking of characters dying and whatnot, and stories dying. So, Frank Miller has not given up on The Dark Knight Returns.
Oh boy.
Ride that pony till she bucks.
Yep.
Did anyone here read The Master Race?
Nope.
No.
Mr. DC? John?
No, I didn't.
All right, so the next chapter is called The Golden Child, which basically follows,
I saw that movie. That was Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have the knife, please.
This time it follows, Carrie Kelly taking over the mantle of Batman, and asking for a knife. Okay? All right, fine.
Well, okay then.
So, what do we think of this idea? And should he have stopped at the first one?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the overarching feeling, yes. But I do have a question, only because I don't know a whole lot about DC. So the two, like, super children, I know of Jonathan Kent, but the sister they mentioned, is she real young? Do I just not know about her? What's up with that?
I don't know, because I know Jonathan Kent as well. I'm not sure.
Frank Miller does his own thing. You don't care about continuity.
Yeah, there's not nothing that I remember that matches that.
Like the whole Green Lantern losing his arm in The Dark Knight Returns, like that never really paid off in the comics, did it?
They were going to have it pay off, and then they just decided to kill him instead.
Right.
And then they brought in Connor Hawke and all that stuff.
Right, exactly. All right. And, I mean, because that's the funny thing. Like, The Dark Knight Returns is probably tying this into House of D and your video where you're, like, introducing people, how to get them into comics, right? Your introductory video. Like, this is one of those books that I think, in, like, a collected edition, if you want to get someone into Batman, it's like, here, read this. You know, like, yeah, you've seen the movies, you've seen the cartoons, but like, read this, for a very interesting take on Batman. You know, this, probably The Killing Joke and Death in the Family, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's like, and it was, what, the 80s when that came out, and, you know, it's had a long life of being like one of the definitive Batman stories, and then he killed it. Cause he couldn't, I don't know.
Yeah, that is a fall for grace for sure, because you're absolutely right. You know, that's a great place for them to start. But yeah, they keep going down that hole, and they're going to be like, what the? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right. As long as they can keep mining it for money.
That's the thing. I don't think, after, what was it, DK2, I don't think anyone read The Master Race. Or very few people did.
Well, I think he's got his fans though. Like Frank Miller has a pretty loyal fan. Like a lot of, creators from that age. There's fans that like will flock to his work. I don't think it's masses, but also Master Race pretty much was universally reviled. So if it's better, I imagine people will read it.
Yeah, we shall see.
People like a comeback.
He'll be the comeback kid of the DC Comics.
Yeah,
I like that. All right. So, moving on to other news, we got a couple quick things here. So apparently there's a report that, Miles Joris, I'm so bad with names, Perfatti may direct the Margot Robbie Tank Girl. So, yes, apparently there are rumors that they're looking for a possible director now.
Oh, okay. Spend money. You want to make that money back. Like, I guess they're serious about this.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see buying the property and not doing it, but I'm just shocked, like, that quickly they're going to do something with it.
I don't know. I'm kind of dismayed that we're still on the, we don't want to try anything new, so let's take this property from the 90s and remake it,
I tell you, it seems like a good girl power thing, and I think that's why they're moving so fast with it. Especially if you look on Twitter, X-Men fans, there's this surge for just like these strong female characters like Wonder Woman. I've got a 3 and 5 year old, and as little as they are, they see that and it's Wonder Woman for a whole year. So I think maybe the temperature of society, they're thinking, let's do a rebellious, strong female character. This looks like it fits Margot Robbie. I could see where they're hasty with it.
I mean, you're going to want to convincing me because, I mean, yeah, I guess the premise fits. It's just, well, it's all going to be in the execution, so we'll see how they manage that. Because again, like the execution and the original comic itself were just 90s. But
the original comic came out in '88, so I'm not sure.
Well,
that's technically 90s. That's
88.
The 90s are in. I don't know why, but they are.
Yeah, but we want things dark now, so I don't know. But yeah, if it's the girl power thing, with the Me Too movement and everything going on, yeah, I guess they could work that out somehow. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it, I guess. I'm obviously not really excited.
Yes, and then, and the thing is too, because you keep talking about the movie, it's such a product in the 90s. The problem is that it's one of those things where at that time they still followed the superhero movie formula for comic book movies.
Right.
And it was like
the old one anyway.
Yeah, the old one, and it didn't work for everything.
Yeah.
So, now we have this new way of doing these movies. Hopefully it works out better. And last but not least, another rumor that's been going around is there might possibly be a Solo spin-off series coming to the Disney Plus network. And this is coming after, of course, they announced the Obi-Wan series, because originally they were going to do spin-off movies, and then they said, we're not going to do any more spin-off movies. So there was a plan for a couple Solo movies that aren't going to be made now, but perhaps they will be on the TV. Would you guys watch this?
No.
No hesitation.
Absolutely not. Well, yeah, no. They had a full feature film, which I expected, tell me more about the Wookiee life debt. That was lame. Okay, you got the Kessel Run in there. That's the one good thing. There's this whole solo lore that we wanted to hear about, and they fucked it up. So yeah, why in a show?
I'm having flashbacks from the Christmas special, so I can't. I just can't.
No desire to see how that Darth Maul thing pays off?
No.
A little bit, but I mean, I'm not going to get the answer I want, so no, not really.
I'll read the synopsis on Wikipedia when it comes out.
I think they're going to do another show with that whole Darth Maul thing. I heard something about Ray Parks being cast for him again for a live action show.
Huh.
So I think that will be. It's too popular of a character. It really is. I mean, that's why they brought him back from the dead, basically.
Well, yeah, but at this point, he's got spider legs.
Nope. He got those replaced with newer, sleeker robotic legs.
Yes.
Those spider legs were only because of the Force. He was in a pile of junk, basically, and so that's very jury-rigged locomotion system he has there. Now he's got brand new, sleek legs.
That's what he had in the cartoon for, was it the Star Wars Rebels or whatever?
Yeah, exactly.
For the longest time.
Yep.
But and now what? Now he's supposed to be some kind of mafia boss or something. You know what? Put him up against the Mandalorian. I'll see that.
Oh,
you're gonna see a Mandalorian to be destroyed.
That might be where they're tying him in. That would
be awesome, though. He has dealings with him.
Yes.
Is Mandalorian before or after the fall of the Empire? I thought it was after.
It's after Jedi, I believe.
So Darth Maul. Actually, who the hell knows what happened to Darth Maul? There's no end of the Darth Maul story, is there?
The last I heard of him, there's a comic book series, Son of Dathomir, and he was in that, and he's basically like a prisoner of the Emperor. The last I saw him, but yeah, it's not solid as to where exactly he's at. It's possible he could have survived, although very unlikely. But hey, they've pulled him out of the trash heap before.
Yes, and gave him spider legs.
Like most of the plots.
Pull Boba Fett out of the Sarlacc belly, so anything's possible.
This is true.
Yeah.
The thermal detonator.
I don't know. It's interesting. So no.
Yeah, that's a problem though. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's not cool, right? It's not exciting. It's just, well, yeah, okay.
So no love for Solo. I get it.
I just think the movie was it wasn't a failure, but it was just everyone kind of gave a collective meh.
There were points they could hit, and they just didn't. The whole Wookiee life debt was so weak. Like, that should be an epic story. And, you get Lando loving his robot.
It seemed like they were...
That was weird.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, it seemed like they got so wrapped up in, like, trying to tell a different story that they didn't tell the story everyone wanted to hear.
Yeah, we just wanted to hear what we heard about in the original movies.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. But instead it was just like, no, here's this crazy adventure with this thief you never heard about before. And it was just like,
let's give an explanation for everything in his backstory, because everything requires an explanation.
Well, and that's another thing too, right? Yeah. Because they gave everything in his backstory in this movie, even though they end on a cliffhanger, they're obviously planning to make more. But no, they gave away everything in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Even the stuff that didn't need an explanation on,
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, why can't his name just be Solo? I mean, why does it have to have why does the Fuzzy Dice have? Are they going to give the Fuzzy Dice their own series or something? Because
the Force of the Fuzzy Dice.
There's such a focus for no reason on this.
For the Fuzzy Dice you see were forged in the volcanoes
where
of
that's
Bavis 5.
You know that all that was the set designer was just like, wouldn't it be cool if there were dice hanging here? And that was it. And it's become a thing.
And now they've got their own backstory.
That wasn't even the designer. That's just the set dresser. They probably threw him up there as a gag. And they never made reference to it until, was it Last Jedi? And I'm like, why is there dice? What's up with the dice?
Even as a little kid, I thought that was weird. I always thought,
and that's
dice.
I never even noticed it.
That was that mention in Last Jedi was just so they could have a tie-in for Solo.
Oh yeah, that was Disney synergy.
But that was the thing that bugged me too, because he always, we knew that he won it from Lando, but we didn't know how he won the Falcon. Wouldn't it have made more sense if it was a dice game and that was the dice he won the Falcon with?
Yes, 100%.
It was like such an easy opportunity for a story plot that would have made a lot of sense, but it was like, nah, we're going to invent a card game for this.
Yeah. The real problem, I think, in that movie is the fact that Alden, I can't say his name, Emmerich, isn't Harrison Ford. Like, he doesn't play the character in a remotely similar way, doesn't have the same charisma, doesn't have the same bravado, and it just never felt like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, if it was any other dude, it might have been a fine movie. But the fact that there's so many expectations tied to the character of Han Solo made it not feel real to me.
Yeah.
Would it have been better if they called it the Millennium Falcon movie?
Could have been.
Because that's what it felt like to me, almost.
Donald Glover at least was out there trying to capture Billy D. Williams.
Yes.
I respect that. Like, he was acting and just understood that, hey, this is a character that has some history. I'm going to do right by it. Meanwhile, Alden Ehrenreich is playing a totally different Han Solo, and nobody wants totally different Han Solo. People want Han Solo.
Yeah, I mean, I even talked about that on the show. I think is that he didn't seem to have the confidence, you know, at all that Harrison Ford has, and it's like, maybe they were going to eventually build to that, but it's like, no, at least by the last third of the movie, he should be that guy.
Yeah, and he never feels like he doesn't have the same delivery. And I get it, he's an actor doing his own thing, but it's not what we want. It's not Han Solo.
No. All right.
Movie reviews from a year and a half ago.
All right, so that's a no for Solo. We're all in agreement. Disney, axe it. We have a quorum.
Give us more Mandalorian. That looks great.
Yes.
So far, we'll see what it's actually.
Oh yeah, we'll tear it apart once it comes out. I mean, that's
old man O'Grady raises his hand.
Well, I just, come on, don't tell me you're not gun shy yet. I mean,
no, I'm not at all with the Mandalorian. Nothing about that makes me nervous. I see no red flags. It's Jon Favreau.
True.
I want Revan in the Old Republic. That's what I want. How have they not done it already?
That is an era that mainstream Star Wars has not done much with. That could be cool.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want with it. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, what? There's a handful of novels that aren't even canon anymore, and
a video game that is no longer canon.
Right.
No, but Revan is in the MMO, and that is canon.
Oh, okay. All right.
Still, a lot of ground.
Yeah. All right. Make that happen. JD, get on the script.
Make it so.
All right. I think, Donald,
yes.
Why don't you say one more time, where can people find your show and where can they find you online?
All right. Well, I am on Twitter, of course, at DSquare72. That's D, and of course, square as in the shape, numeral 72. And there you can find my link to my YouTube channel, House of D, where I do comic reviews, particularly X-Men comic reviews. And I also have a talk show of my own that I do with a new Two Comic Books co-host, Volsker, which is actually my brother. And so we talk. He's more of a movie buff, TV show buff. I'm the old school comic book nerd, and so I take him through the new Hoxpox event and Absolute Carnage event, and we'll be getting into other events such as Incoming and things like that. And I also do some Twitch, actually. I'm streaming some Marvel Ultimate Alliance right now, but mainly at DSquare72 on Twitter. You can find my link and everything you need to know and what I post.
Cool. So, I didn't know. I haven't bought the new game yet. How is it?
Oh, it's great. The upgrade system's a little bit intimidating. You're dealing with like these ISO crystals and stuff, but it doesn't matter because it's not super crucial. You know, it's not like you're going to die until you figure it out. It's super, super fun. Of course, I'm rolling with all X-Men characters.
Of course.
So it's challenging. It's fun. You can do it co-op. So absolutely. I mean, I bought the Switch just for the game because it's, it's just great.
Is it the same engine as the last two?
Very, very similar. Yes. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's the, obviously updated graphics, but very, very similar. Yeah.
Cool. All right. You just sold me. I have to go get it now. All right. Don't forget, boys and girls, follow us on Twitter at Superhero Speak and on Instagram. And of course, Facebook.com/Superhero Speak. And if you reply to our tweets on Twitter and get insulted by JD, you too can come on the show and pimp your stuff.
Nice. 2 for 2.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys very much for having me. And any time you want me, I'm here. Thank you very much. I continue to listen to your guys' awesome show. It really, as a 39-year-old comic nerd who sits at work and stares at 3 screens all day, love having something great like this to listen to. And it's why I do what I do, even though I do it on YouTube. So you have to leave the phone unlocked unless you have the YouTube premium. But nonetheless, that's what I do it for. And I just appreciate you guys, including me here, and just a great show that I love, and I'm on it. So thank you.
Oh, no, thank you for coming.
Awesome.
And on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for listening. And don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.